Although Star Wars has like everything I'm into in it, space, badass glow sticks, and cool spaceships, I've never really watched it. The only one I've seen is, yeah, that's the one. I also never played any of the games aside from the LEGO ones, which I still think are great to this day. Eventually, I got to play Battlefront 2 at a friend's house, and didn't like it that much, mainly because I couldn't use a lightsaber. Dumb reason, I know, but I was a kid, so it's fine. Jedi Fallen Order would be announced 2 years after Battlefront 2, and I was pretty excited. Not knowing anything about the other Star Wars games definitely helped, because otherwise I would have been skeptical. However, after beating the game, I didn't really enjoy it that much, but the story kept me engaged to the end. After a few years though, I decided to replay it, and I enjoyed it a lot more. Not sure why, I think the combat just clicked with me more, and having more powerful hardware definitely helped this time around. Regardless, it's now time for all things Jedi Fallen Order. You play as Cal Kestis, who is one of the only survivors of Emperor Palpatine's Order 69 or whatever. And let me tell you, the Empire is not happy he's alive and hunt him down through the entire galaxy. Luckily, he gets saved and makes some new friends, like BD-1, who might be my favorite droid. Like, how could you not like this little buddy? As Cal and the crew explore through the galaxy, they'll begin to warm up to each other, until something happens and tension gets high in the Mantis household. And goddamn, how much salt do you need? Despite being canon to the Star Wars universe, the story holds pretty well on its own. I don't know anything about Star Wars, but I was able to follow what was going on, and they did a nice job explaining stuff. I found the first chunk of the story to be a tad boring and uninteresting. However, it really picks up later. Things get really interesting, and it's quite emotional. I was so hooked I was practically glued to the screen. The climax was fantastic. The build up to everything and the way it ended was fucking great. And the character growth Cal, Grease, and Seer go through is very nice. The combat starts off very basic, but is always satisfying. The parry feels great, the sound it makes tickles the right part of my brain. It can even lead to sick finishing animations. Unfortunately, since there's very few animations, they end up losing a lot of their charm early into the game. I also wish there was dismemberment on humans, because ain't no way that's not taking an arm or something off. As you progress and unlock new force powers and new skills from the skill tree, the combat opens up even more and is super fun. By the end of the game, you'll be cutting down waves of enemies like they're butter. It makes you feel like an undefeatable Jedi. Until you get comboed by a goat and all of that confidence just shatters. Luckily, the consequence for dying isn't that severe. As long as you can land a hit on the foe, you'll gain all of your health and whatnot back, giving you a slight edge the next time around. Also, Stormtroopers stay true to form by being a complete joke to take out. Being able to change the difficulty on the fly is always very appreciated. It makes going back and just trying to get all the secrets and chests much less of a hassle. I was a bit worried that the bosses wouldn't be that fun, since most of them in the first half are just stronger versions of regular enemies. Luckily, in the latter half, the bosses feel like actual boss fights. They were actually pretty challenging and also very fun. Getting that one attempt where I dodge every attack and take them down with ease after failing again and again gives me enough adrenaline to punt a baby across a football stadium. Exploring the planets is pretty fun. The level design is alright, there's lots of shortcuts so it's not too much of a pain to backtrack. Sometimes I did wish there was a fast travel back to the Mantis though, only because the map is pretty hard to read. With all the layers and stuff, it kinda just blends together, so it was hard to figure out where to go a lot of the time. Each level is also filled with tons of awesome set pieces and thrilling moments, like scaling an AT-AT then hijacking it to wreak havoc against the enemy troops. That shit was so cool, dude! Some of the stuff genuinely had me at the edge of my seat. There's also plenty of stuff littered throughout each planet, like cosmetics, which add some individuality in everyone's playthrough, and upgrades for force and health. On top of that, Jedi Fallen Order visually looks its best in caves. Not saying it looks bad otherwise, by the way, but the lighting and the atmosphere are really good. Using your lightsaber as a light source is also a neat detail that I appreciate. You'll come across ancient tombs during the story which feel unlike anything else in the game. Everything feels so old yet extremely advanced, and the challenges and puzzles in each one are very fun, although most are fairly simple. However, some manage to even stump me for a bit. The atmosphere in them is extremely cool and unique. I'm glad I decided to give this game another shot after a few years. I ran into a lot of bugs and such on my first playthrough, which soured my experience further. But I'm glad this one was much more positive. It's made me even more excited for the sequel, Jedi Survivor. It looks much more bigger and ambitious than Fallen Order, and I'm all for it. Also, dual-wielding lightsabers is gonna be the coolest thing. I can feel it. I'm gonna wait until they fix most of the bugs and stuff though, since I heard it wasn't that great at launch. I have no clue how to end my video still, so explosion it is.